The Whispered File, Dig Me No Grave. On a night in 1937, a man named John Grimlin died screaming. Not from illness, from something that made him claw at the air and beg not to be left alone. His friend Conrad found him convulsing, eyes wide with a terror so absolute that it didn't match any earthly pain. And what Grimlin said in those final moments would haunt Conrad for the rest of his life. Grimlin lived in a dark house on a hill, isolated and deliberately forgotten. He was old money gone strange, a man who traveled through Africa and the Orient in his younger years, always digging into things most people left buried. Over decades, he'd become a recluse, a collector of occult texts and forbidden knowledge. The townspeople whispered that he'd made a bargain with something that wasn't quite human. They said the sudden seizures that plagued him in his later years were proof of it. The devil calling in his debt, they claimed. But Conrad, himself a serious student of the occult, had been drawn to Grimlin's intellect. Where others saw a monster, Conrad saw a scholar. The night Grimlin died, he refused a doctor. He refused help. All he demanded was that Conrad stay with him, that he not die alone. And as the seizure took hold, Grimlin's body twisted in ways that seemed to defy anatomy. He screamed, not from physical agony, though there was that. He screamed from pure, unfiltered terror, the kind of terror that doesn't come from sickness or age, the kind that suggests you're watching something being dragged somewhere it doesn't want to go. Conrad would later tell his friend Kirawan that he'd seen men die before. He'd seen death come peaceful and death come violent. But what he witnessed that night transcended ordinary human fear. The dread in Grimlin's eyes suggested he could see something in that room that no living person should ever have to face. Something that had been waiting for him. Something that had finally come to collect. The official cause was listed as a seizure, possibly epileptic. A hereditary condition, perhaps, or some tropical disease contracted decades ago in distant lands. But Conrad never fully accepted that explanation, and he never spoke publicly about what Grimlin whispered in those final moments before the screaming stopped. What do you think was really happening in that dark house on the hill?